Good afternoon, guys. Today we are going to elaborate a very literary subject. Subject from the Rabindranath Tagore's literature, and the best book written by Rabindranath Tagore was Gitanjali, got the Nobel Prize. In Gitanjali, this is the invocation. The title of the poem is Invocation, and in this poem, Rabindranath Tagore actually praying to God about India, about Indian, about Indian political, social scenario, about lethargy and the sluggishness and the slowness of people, and fear. Fear in the heart of the people of India about Brits, that's called Anglophobia, British Raj, British culture, and not to mince a word, just live like a slave, live like subjugated mouse. Don't mince a word against the policies, against the reign, against the subjugation of British people. And Rabindranath Tagore did not like it. Rabindranath Tagore actually prayed to God, invoked the God that, hey God, please let my country awake. That is our title of today. My Father means God. Let my country awake. Awake from what? Awake from sluggishness, slavery, certitude, against from the subjugation of our mind, fear. Awake from every single thing that India suffered from for last 8 centuries, 800 years, totally subjugated, totally suppressed, and totally oppressed by all the foreign forces, and we could not do anything because our minds were replete, saturated with all kinds of fears about the alien forces. And Rabindranath Tagore knew that. Rabindranath Tagore prayed to God that, hey God, hey Father, please let my country awake. Please let my people awake so they can actually stand up against those forces of aggression, forces of injustice, forces of atrocity, forces of oppression, and forces of suppression, forces of slavery, forces of absolutely inhumane treatment. So today we are going to elaborate. I have created 4 points, and we are going to elaborate all the 4 points in detail, 1 point at a time. Point number 1 is inspiring invocation for socio-individual reform. This is the prayer, invocation, very inspiring prayer to inspire by this prayer for the people of this nation, for the countrymen of Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore has actually prayed to God that, awake my people, please let my people awake from these kinds of scenario, and let them actually be bold, let them be brave, let them be lion-hearted, so they can stand up against all the forces of tyranny, all the forces of oppression, and demand for their own rights, demand for the rights of their nation, demand the rights for their society, demand human rights, and kick out all the thugs of the Western nation. Get out of here, go to your home, and ready to be sacrificed, whatever it needs. And that is the message, that is the moral of this invocation. Point number 2 is polymath, Nobel laureate, to reshape socio-political, ideological scenario. In this poem, Rabindranath Tagore has actually invoked to God in invocation by saying that, oh Father, let my countrymen, let my country awake. Meaning, Mr. Tagore or Rabindranath Tagore actually intends to make us all awake about our own plight, realize what the foreign forces have been doing to us, doing to our nation, doing to our society, how they actually treat us. They treat us inhumanely. They don't treat us like human, but they treat us like some kind of inferior creature on this planet. They don't respect us. They don't give any kind of veneration. They don't give us any kind of rights or don't give us any kind of privileges. So, Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore actually prays that, oh God, do this thing, and by awakening our people over here in India, please don't only awake the people to think about themselves, but think about the nation, think about their culture, think about the society, think about every single thing, and think about their own freedom and get rid of their fear that they have been mustering for British people. Point number 3 is mind free of fear with heavenly freedom. Rabindranath Tagore has prayed very intensely, very dearly, very emphatically to God in his book Gitanjali. Title is My Father, Let My Country Awake. In this poem, Rabindranath Tagore has actually asked the God that give us a heart which does not have any kind of fear about anything, but the heart which is lion type. We should have a lion heart, so we can become lion-hearted. We can become fearless from those people who have invaded our nation, those people who have made our nation slave, those people who have been perpetrating tyranny on us, atrocity on us, those people who have actually enslaved us, those people who have actually subjected us to servitude. Give us that kind of fearless heart so that we can actually strive for heavenly freedom. We don't have any kind of freedom for 800 years long, 8 centuries, because of our fear, because our heart is fearful, because our mind is fearful, because our society is fearful, because the people are fearful. And that is why we have been enslaved by those cowardice breeds. Now, breeds were not brave. Breeds were not lion-hearted. They were thugs. They were cowardice people. But we were scared of them. Sometimes what happens is we are scared of dog. And that is why we stay away from the dog. Dog does not have any intention to bite us or bark at us. But we are scared. So the same scenario according to Rabindranath Tagore, that they were not great, but we were mean. They were not brave, but we were fearful. Their hearts were not lion hearts, but our hearts were lamb hearts. They did not have any kind of bravery or courage or temerity, but we had, our hearts were absolutely replete, absolutely saturated with their fear. It was the fear of fear itself. Fear of fear itself. And when you are afraid of anything, it may be mouse or mice, you are definitely going to be overruled by that mouse or mice. That mouse or mice is going to frighten you, is going to sprout fear into you. It is going to sprout sweat into you. It is going to make you run away from. It is going to make you trepidate. It is going to make you cry, even if it is a mouse or mice. But if you are brave, if you don't have any kind of fear in your heart, if you are absolutely fearless, then you are going to stampede, you are going to stomp and stamp out that mice or mouse. So they were like mice and the mouse. They come over here and they frighten us because we had our heart full of fear. Our heart was replete with fear. Our heart was totally saturated by the fear of English. Otherwise, according to Rabindranath Tagore, if our heart were free of fear, and God would have given us heavenly freedom. And that happened after the advent of all those lion-hearted, Gandhijian lion-hearted, Vallabhbhai Patel lion-hearted Nehru. And those guys have to pack up their bags and baggages and just dashed away. Point number 4. Awake my countrymen from slumber of slothfulness, slavery, and ideological servitude. Rabindranath Tagore has invoked to God that, oh God, please let my countrymen, let my country awake. From what? From the slavery. We are so complacent about slavery. We are so complacent about ideological servitude. We are so complacent with sluggishness, slothness. Rabindranath Tagore actually appeals to us and prays to God that change my country, change my countrymen, change our social scenario, change the ideology of my people, and awaken them, let them awake. That we are living as a slave, we are living as a sloth, we are living as servitude, we are living under the subjugation of Brits, we are living under the subjugation by Mughals, we are treated like inhumane, we are not treated like important people but second fiddle, we are treated like second class citizen, we are treated like we are inferior breed. He prays to God, he invokes to God, hey God, let our people awake to freedom and freedom from fear. And if they are fearless and they are going to demand for the freedom vehemently, they are going to become free, freedom would come to them, and they are going to live with their head held up like an liberated, free people. They will live with veneration. They will live with ovation. They will live with self-respect, self-reverence, and they will have self-control on themselves, self-control on their nation. Everything will be under their leash. They are not going to live under the leash of the foreign forces like their pet dog. So that is the prayer, that is the invocation said by Rabindranath Tagore. I don't say Rabindranath Tagore because this name was distorted. Rabindranath Tagore's real name, congenital name was congenital by birth. The name was Tagore. Rabindranath, surname was Tagore. And these British people came over here and distorted every single thing. Distorted our name, distorted the name of the cities, distorted the name of our great figures like Rabindranath Tagore, distorted the name of our culture, distorted the name of our India. India was never India, it was Bharat, and they actually distorted it to India. And we foolish people of India are very happy, very comfortable, and very satisfied by the name given to us by those thugs who had a thuggery on this nation for 200 years and all other thugs for 800 years. And we were satisfied, we were gratified, we were pacified, and we were complacent about their ruthless thuggery. So don't follow those thugs. Follow your heart, follow the heart of those saintly people. Remember our saints, remember our sages. Don't remember those thugs who came over here to do nothing but one thing and one thing alone, to pillage, to plunder, to loot our nation, our culture, our society, our ideology, every single thing they loot and scoot. That was only the reason to come over here. Loot India and scoot. They left India absolutely in a miserable plight. Now we should do what Rabindranath Tagore has prayed, and we should also pray the same thing. We should invoke the same thing. We should say, "Oh my Father, please let us awake." Rabindranath Tagore said, "Let my countrymen awake, let my country awake." We should say, "Oh God, oh my Father, let us awake." Amen. Thank you very much for all the time we had. Thank you very much for listening. See you again tomorrow. Until then, God bless everyone on this planet. Amen.